The Tale of the Path That Gathers Stars. Chapter 1, The First Light on the Path. I have always walked slowly, letting my feet find the softest parts of the earth beneath me. There is something gentle in this quiet pace, something that lets my mind settle into the rhythm of each step. Tonight, the path is lined with a thin mist, and the faint glow of scattered starlight seems to rest on the stones ahead. I keep my lantern low, though I barely need it. The path itself glows for me. I don't remember when I first found this path. Perhaps I have always been on it, my feet tracing its curves and bends through forests and across open meadows where the wind carries voices I never quite understand. Sometimes I imagine that the path grows longer with each thought I let drift into the night air. I wear a small pouch at my side. Inside, I keep the stars I gather. They are not the stars you see when you look up, those belong to the sky and the sky alone. These stars are like whispers that fall to earth when no one is watching. They hide in the corners of old fences, under fallen leaves, or between the roots of ancient trees. I bend down, careful not to disturb the quietness around me, and lift each tiny glow into my pouch. When I was younger, though time feels like a word with no real meaning here, I thought I would find an end to this path. I thought perhaps at the final bend, there would be a door or a gate, something to mark my arrival. But the path folds back onto itself, or maybe it simply never stops unfolding. So, I walk. And as I walk, I gather. Tonight, my steps lead me under a canopy of branches that arch over the path like the ribs of some long-forgotten creature. I pause, tilt my head back, and see how the starlight filters through tiny openings in the leaves. Each drop of light lands softly on my shoulders, my hair, the backs of my hands. I stand very still, letting it soak into me. I wonder if I, too, am becoming part of the path's light. I listen for footsteps that are not my own, though they never come. There is comfort in knowing that I am alone here. No voices to distract me, no sudden laughter to startle the silence. Just the sound of my breathing and the whisper of leaves shifting in a breeze too gentle to feel. Sometimes the path hums beneath my feet. It's a sound like a distant lullaby, one that rises from the soil itself. I press my palm to the ground and close my eyes. The hum moves up through my arm and settles near my heart, where it echoes with a warmth that makes me smile without realizing it. When I open my eyes, I find another star, this one caught between two stones at the path's edge. I crouch down, brush away a thin film of dust, and lift the tiny glow between my fingers. It flickers, shy at first, then brightens as I cradle it in my palm. Into my pouch it goes, joining the others. I imagine them whispering to each other in the darkness of the cloth bag, telling stories only stars could know. There are nights when I speak to the stars in my pouch. I tell them where I've been, what I've seen, a fox curled beside an old gate, a pond that held the moon so clearly I thought I might fall through it. I tell them about the wind that sometimes carries a song from far away, a song with no words but a tune that feels like a memory I almost remember. The stars never answer, but I feel they're listening. It's enough. The mist thickens as I move deeper into the night. My feet find the path by memory more than sight. My lantern swings at my side, casting soft circles of light that stretch and fade into the gray. I feel no need to hurry. The path has no destination but the journey itself, and so I go on. Sometimes I wonder if I will ever run out of stars to find. But the world is generous to the patient, and the stars keep appearing, hidden in tree hollows, caught in spiderwebs strung between fence posts, tucked into the folds of moss that blanket old stones. I think perhaps they find me as much as I find them. Ahead, the path widens into a small clearing. A single, ancient oak stands in the center, its branches sprawling so far that they brush the edges of the clearing like gentle fingers. At its base, the earth dips into a shallow hollow filled with fallen leaves and tiny flowers that open only at night. I kneel there, pushing aside a few leaves, and find a cluster of stars nestled close together. One by one, I lift them, feeling their faint warmth on my skin. They seem to pulse with my heartbeat, like tiny echoes of something larger than either of us. I smile as I place them in my pouch, feeling the weight of my collection grow ever so slightly. I sit back on my heels, close my eyes, and listen to the hush that wraps around the clearing. The path breathes with me. The world, for a moment, feels like it is holding its breath too. When I stand again, the mist parts before me as if it, too, knows I must continue. My steps are slower now, each one softer than the last. I feel the hush settle into my bones, into my thoughts, until even my heartbeat seems to move in time with the quietness of the path. I will walk until my pouch is full tonight. Then I will find a place to rest beside the path, under the open sky that is always watching, always listening. And when the first light of dawn brushes the tips of the trees, I will begin again, my feet tracing the soft earth, my eyes searching for the hidden glow of forgotten stars. The path will keep unfolding. And I will keep walking. Chapter 2: A Lantern of Fallen Wishes. Sometimes I wonder how many wishes have fallen to the ground while people look the other way. Wishes whispered to the night sky, sent up on breaths that fog in winter air, or wrapped inside the hush of a sigh on a summer porch. Some reach the stars above, but some, I think, slip through the cracks in the sky and drift gently to earth. It is these fallen wishes I find scattered along the path. Tiny lights that tremble when I draw near, as if remembering what it felt like to float upward, hopeful and weightless. I carry them carefully in my pouch, each one humming softly against the other, a lantern made of forgotten dreams. Tonight, the path bends gently to the left, hugging the curve of a low hill that rises like the back of a sleeping animal. The mist has thinned, replaced by a fine silver drizzle that settles on my shoulders, my hair, the fabric of my sleeves. Each drop holds a shard of starlight, and I imagine I am wearing the night itself as a cloak. My feet find the softest parts of the path, the damp earth springing slightly under my weight. Here, the air smells of wet moss and something older, perhaps the memory of rain on stone, or the breath of roots deep underground. I pause to breathe it in, to let it fill the quiet spaces inside me that words never seem to reach. At the top of the hill, I stop and turn to look back. The path winds away behind me, a pale ribbon laid gently across the dark fields. I cannot see where it begins, perhaps it never truly does. The thought makes me smile in that small, private way that only the path knows. There is a stone marker here, half buried and covered with lichen. I brush my hand across its rough surface, tracing grooves that might once have been letters or symbols, though now they are only stories the stone keeps to itself. Beside the marker, nestled in a hollow where rainwater gathers, I see a faint glow. I kneel, dipping my fingers into the cool water. The glow trembles like a heartbeat beneath the ripples. Gently, I scoop it up, feeling its warmth spread through my palm despite the chill of the water. It pulses once, twice, then settles into a steady glow. Into the pouch it goes, to join its quiet kin. I have learned not to rush this gathering. Each wish wants to be found, but only if I move gently, my footsteps softer than the breeze that moves through the branches overhead. I walk on, the drizzle tapping a soft rhythm on the hood of my coat. The sound reminds me of distant drums, the kind you can feel more than hear, steady, patient, calling me deeper into the folds of the night. At a bend in the path, I find a gate, old and leaning, its wood softened by time and weather. Ivy climbs its frame, weaving a net of green that catches stray drops of water. I press my hand to the gate, and it swings open without a sound. Beyond it lies a small orchard, forgotten but not abandoned. The trees stand in neat, ghostly rows, their branches heavy with blossoms that glow faintly in the lantern light. I walk between the trees, my hand brushing against blossoms that leave trails of cold fire on my fingertips. Beneath one of the oldest trees, roots twisting like old fingers, I see another wish, a tiny gleam caught where the trunk meets the earth. I crouch, listening to the hush that gathers here, and lift the wish gently free. Sometimes I think of the people who made these wishes. Faces I'll never see, voices I'll never hear except as a faint echo in the rustle of the orchard leaves. Perhaps they wished for love, or forgiveness, or a way home. Perhaps they forgot their wishes the moment they were made, letting them slip from their hands like water through a sieve. But the path remembers, and so do I. Past the orchard, the path narrows again, curling like a ribbon dropped onto damp grass. I feel the weight of my pouch resting against my hip, a comforting pull that grounds me, reminds me that I am not merely drifting. Each light inside it is a small promise to keep walking, to keep gathering. A clearing opens ahead, and at its center stands an old well. Its stones are slick with moss, and a small wooden bucket rests on the edge, its rope frayed and knotted. I lean over, peering into the darkness below. A faint shimmer catches my eye, another wish, resting at the bottom like a coin tossed in secret. Lowering the bucket, I listen to the rope creak softly. The bucket disappears into the dark, then bumps gently against the water's surface. I wait, holding my breath, as if the well itself might speak to me. When I draw the bucket back up, the wish sits quietly inside, its light reflecting in the still water. I reach in, cradle it between my palms, and feel its warmth spread through my fingers. Stars above, wishes below. I am the quiet bridge between them, my footsteps stitching sky and earth together, one soft step at a time. As I leave the well behind, the drizzle eases into a soft mist once more. The orchard fades into shadow, and the path unfolds before me like a lullaby whispered just beyond hearing. I lower my lantern, letting its glow mingle with the hush around me. My breath slows, my steps grow softer still. The night is deep here, but it is not empty. It hums with the secrets of fallen wishes and the hush of stars waiting to be found. And I, the quiet collector, walk on, lantern swinging, pouch warm at my side, heart steady as the path winds ever onward through the patient dark. Chapter 3: The Meadow of Silent Echoes. There is a part of the path that always finds me when I need it most. A stretch where the trees fall away and the world opens wide into a meadow that hums with quiet echoes of all that has passed before. Here, the sky hangs low and heavy with stars that feel close enough to touch, though I know they never truly come down except as whispers waiting to be found in the grass. Tonight, the meadow greets me with a soft breeze that carries the scent of wildflowers and the faintest trace of something sweet I can never name. My steps slow even more as I cross its threshold, the soft hush of grass against my boots the only sound I hear for a while. I close my eyes and let the hush wrap around me like a blanket I have carried from another time. When I open my eyes, I see them, tiny gleams scattered like forgotten coins tossed into a wishing well too wide to hold them all. The stars here nestle in the folds of tall grass, hide among wildflowers that open only under moonlight, and dance at the edges of my vision, always just at the corner of knowing. I kneel, the grass folding gently under my knees, and reach for the first whisper of light I find. It trembles as my fingers brush it, then settles into my palm like it has been waiting for me. I wonder sometimes if these fallen wishes know one another, if they hum together when I am not listening, telling stories of the skies they almost reached. I tuck the new star into my pouch, feeling its warmth join the hush that lives there now, a small nest of light against my side. Then I walk on, weaving my way through the meadow's open arms, each step careful not to disturb too much of the quietness blooming here. There are stones here too, smooth and flat, worn by years of wind and rain and the weight of thoughts too heavy to keep. I pause at one, tracing my fingers across its cool surface. Sometimes I think I can feel the echoes left behind by those who walked this path before me. Soft footsteps, quiet laughter, secrets whispered to the grass. The meadow keeps them all, folding them gently into its hush. At the far edge, where the meadow bows back into a stand of slender birch trees, I find a small pool of water, clear as a memory I almost remember. The surface reflects the sky so perfectly that for a moment I wonder if I am looking up or down. I kneel beside it, letting my fingertips trail through the reflection, sending ripples across the stars mirrored there. A faint light shivers at the bottom of the pool, caught in a tangle of roots that reach into the water like pale fingers. I lean closer, watching the light flicker, then plunge my hand into the coolness. The roots part easily, releasing the star into my waiting palm. When I lift it into the night air, the water closes behind me, sealing the secret it kept for who knows how long. I sit by the pool for a while, listening to the hush that gathers here. The breeze brushes my cheek, carrying with it the softest echoes, a melody without words, a lullaby sung by no one and everyone all at once. I close my eyes and breathe it in, feeling my thoughts slow to match the quiet rhythm of the meadow. When I stand again, I feel lighter somehow, as if the meadow has taken some small burden from me in exchange for the stars I gather. My pouch is heavier, but my steps are softer, and I know that I will carry this hush with me long after I have left the meadow behind. I follow the birch trees as they gather into a loose circle around the path, their white trunks pale ghosts in the lantern light. Here and there, a fallen star glows at the base of a tree or clings to the peeling bark, waiting for my careful touch. Each one I find feels like a tiny promise, that the world is still generous, that quietness is still a gift waiting to be held. As I walk, I run my fingers along the birch trunks, feeling the paper-thin layers peel away under my touch. Some slip free, caught on the breeze, drifting like pale leaves to the ground where they rest until the earth folds them back into itself. It reminds me that everything here is patient, the trees, the grass, the path itself. All waiting. All listening. The path dips gently now, winding between the birch trees until the meadow is a hush behind me. Ahead, the ground rises into low, rolling hills covered in soft moss and wildflowers that glow like tiny lanterns scattered by a thoughtful hand. I climb the first hill slowly, feeling the hush deepen with each step. At the top, I pause and look back. The meadow lies below, a soft quilt of silver and green, stitched together by the glow of fallen stars and the quiet breath of the night. For a moment, I think I see someone standing where I stood by the pool, a figure shaped by the mist, or maybe just a trick of my tired eyes. But when I blink, there is only the hush, the grass, the endless gentle breathing of this place. I turn away and walk on, my lantern swinging softly at my side, my pouch warm with the gathered hush of the meadow. Ahead, the hills unfold like the slow turning of pages in a book written only for those who take the time to listen. And so I listen. I walk. I gather. The stars wait for me, hidden in the folds of the earth, whispered into the hush by wishes that drift down when no one is looking. And I, the quiet keeper of the path, will always find them, one soft step at a time. Chapter 4, The Bridge of Gentle Murmurs. The hills roll away behind me, soft and forgiving under my steps. As I descend the last slope, the path folds itself into a gentle curve that leads me toward the sound of running water. It begins as a hush beneath the hush, a faint, steady murmur that grows clearer with each step until I find myself standing before a small river. The river is not wide, but its surface catches the light of the stars above and scatters it in ripples that dance against the dark banks. Stones line the edges like quiet guardians, worn smooth by years of patient flowing. A wooden bridge crosses the water here, a simple thing, built from planks and rope that creaks softly as the breeze passes through. I stand at the foot of the bridge for a moment, listening to the river's voice. It speaks in gentle murmurs, telling stories of places upstream where the water gathers strength before slipping down to meet me here. I wonder how many wishes have drifted along its surface, how many forgotten whispers rest beneath its flow. With a careful step, I place my foot on the first plank. It sighs under my weight but holds firm. The lantern at my side casts soft circles of light that slip through the gaps in the boards and flicker on the water below. I pause halfway across, leaning against the rope railing, and watch the current curl around stones like a gentle hand smoothing rumpled fabric. In the center of the bridge, I see it, a faint glow caught between two planks, a fallen star resting where the river's voice is loudest. I kneel, balancing my weight so the bridge doesn't protest too loudly, and reach down. My fingers brush the tiny light, and for a heartbeat, it feels like the river hums a little louder, as if thanking me for noticing. I lift the star free and cradle it in my palm. It flickers, then settles into a steady warmth that soaks into my skin. Into the pouch it goes, joining the hush I carry with me like a secret I never have to share. I stand again, leaning over the railing to watch the water slip past below. Somewhere downstream, the river will widen and spill into a lake or a marsh or perhaps vanish underground where the earth keeps its own secrets. I wonder if the wishes I cannot find here will drift until someone else, someday, thinks to listen for them. Crossing the rest of the bridge, my footsteps fall into the river's rhythm, a soft, patient pattern that echoes in my chest. At the far end, the path climbs gently into a grove of willows that sway even when there is no wind. Their long branches trail across the ground, tracing slow, lazy patterns in the soil that feel like writing only the earth can read. I pass beneath their green canopy, brushing aside the drapes of leaves that part like curtains welcoming me into a quiet room. Here, the world feels closer somehow, my breath, the hush of the willows, the steady murmur of the river just behind me, all folding into a single soft sound that fills my head until there is no room for anything but calm. A fallen star glows at the base of one willow, caught in the tangled roots that rise like knotted fingers from the earth. I kneel again, pressing my palm to the bark before freeing the tiny light. The tree hums beneath my hand, a gentle vibration that reminds me that everything here is alive in ways I cannot see. Each star I find feels lighter now, or perhaps it is I who have grown softer, my steps sinking deeper into the hush that clings to my coat and hair. My pouch sways at my side, the collected murmurs of the bridge, the river, the willows, each light a promise that the quiet will hold me as long as I listen. Deeper into the grove, I find a circle of stones half buried in moss. At the center stands an old bench, carved from a single fallen tree. I sit there for a while, lantern resting beside me, eyes half closed as I listen to the leaves whisper above. Sometimes I think I can hear words in the rustle, a language older than my footsteps, older than any name I might give this path. I lean back, letting my head rest against the smooth wood of the bench. The stars in my pouch shift gently, pressing warmth into my hip. I feel them breathing there, or maybe it is my own breath they echo back to me, a soft reminder that this moment is enough. When I stand again, I feel the bench's memory cling to me, a small hush that drifts down my sleeves, settles into my hair, wraps itself around my heart like a promise. I touch the back of the bench once, a quiet thank you, before stepping back onto the path. Beyond the grove, the land flattens into a wide stretch of meadow again, but this one hums with the river's voice even from a distance. I can see the water slipping away between tall grasses that bend and bow as if nodding in rhythm to the current's song. As I walk, I find more stars, one caught in the crook of a fallen branch, another hidden in a cluster of mushrooms that glow faintly in the lantern's light. Each time, I pause, breathe, gather. My steps have grown so quiet now that even the night barely notices me moving through it. I come to another bridge, smaller than the first, made of stones laid side by side across a narrow stream that feeds the larger river. I cross it without hurry, pausing in the center to watch the water curl around my boots where it spills over the stones. Another faint light flickers beneath the surface, and I reach down, my fingers brushing the cold water as I lift the wish free. It shines brighter than the others for a moment before settling into the hush I carry. I stand there, the stream's cool breath on my skin, my lantern casting soft shadows that flicker and fade as the water moves on without me. I know this bridge, this stream, this hush, they are all part of the same gentle promise the path whispers to me every time I wonder how much farther there is to go. There is no end here, only the soft unfolding of each step, each breath, each star gathered and held close. When I step off the stone bridge, I feel the hush settle deeper into my bones, a warmth that stays even as the night drifts on. I follow the path as it curves away from the river, my lantern swinging softly, my pouch heavier now with the murmurs I have gathered. And I keep walking, always walking, as the bridge fades behind me and the quiet of the night carries me onward, one gentle step at a time. Chapter 5: The Garden Where Shadows Rest. The path winds on, carrying me away from the murmuring river and its gentle bridges. My footsteps find new softness as I follow its curve into a place where the night seems deeper somehow, thicker with a hush that clings to my coat like mist. Ahead, I see shapes rising from the darkness, low stone walls, a gate left slightly ajar, and within, a garden that waits with a patient, timeless breath. I pause at the gate, one hand resting on its weathered wood. Ivy climbs the posts, its leaves cool beneath my fingers. The hinges creak a little as I push the gate open, a sound quickly swallowed by the hush inside. I step through and let the gate fall closed behind me, shutting the path away for a moment so I can stand inside this place that feels both new and familiar. The garden is not neat. Its paths twist and meander like old thoughts revisited in the quiet hours before dawn. Stones lie scattered where they have fallen, half covered by moss that glows faintly in the lantern light. Low shrubs lean over the paths, brushing my coat as I pass, leaving behind drops of dew that catch and hold tiny fragments of starlight. Here, the shadows gather, but they do not frighten me. They rest among the hedges and under the wide leaves of old plants, curled like sleeping animals waiting for my soft steps to pass by. I nod to them, a silent greeting, and they seem to bow back, folding themselves tighter as if they, too, wish to dream. I come to a small clearing at the heart of the garden. A stone bench sits there, worn smooth by time and weather. Above it, A tangle of branches forms an archway open to the sky. Through that opening, the stars spill down in quiet sighs, landing in the soft bed of grass at my feet. I lower my lantern and watch the light mingle with the shadows, the hush, the soft breath of the night that lives here. I kneel beside the bench, fingertips brushing the grass. There, half hidden beneath a fallen leaf, I see the faint glow of another wish, waiting for my gentle touch. I lift it free, cradling its warmth before tucking it into my pouch. The shadows near my knees shift slightly, as if to make room for the hush I carry. I sit on the bench for a while, the cold stone pressing its memory into my back. I close my eyes and listen to the sounds that aren't quite sounds, breaths, sighs, the soft rustle of leaves that remember every secret spoken beneath them. Sometimes I feel as though the garden itself is dreaming, and I am a small part of that dream, moving gently through its restless hush. When I open my eyes again, I see faint trails of light winding through the shrubs ahead. I follow them, my lantern casting soft pools of gold that flutter and fade with each step. The path splits here and there, looping back on itself like thoughts that return no matter how far I walk. At every turn, I find another star tucked away, a whisper hidden under roots, a promise left among tangled branches. I gather each one without hurry. The hush asks nothing of me but my patience. The garden seems to breathe with me, each step matched by a slow exhale of shadows that part and fold behind me. Sometimes I catch glimpses of things I cannot name, a shape crouched behind a hedge, a flicker of light just out of reach. But when I look closer, there is only the hush and my own breath moving softly through it. At the far edge of the garden, I find an old fountain. Its basin is cracked and dry, but moss fills it with green softness that glows where the starlight touches. I kneel at its rim, fingertips tracing the worn stone, and find yet another wish resting where water might once have held it. I lift it free, feeling its warmth settle into the hush that now feels as much a part of me as my heartbeat. I wonder who built this garden, who first dreamed these paths and walls and places for shadows to gather. Perhaps no one did. Perhaps it grew from the hush itself, called into being by all the wishes that drifted down and needed a quiet place to rest. Perhaps I am not the only one who has ever walked here, lantern low, steps slow enough to hear the garden's breathing. I sit beside the fountain for a long time, my back resting against its cool stone. The shadows shift around me, never closer, never farther, simply present, simply quiet. I feel the stars in my pouch shift too, warm and patient. I close my eyes and imagine them humming softly to one another, stories traded in light no words could hold. When I stand again, my lantern flickers as if to remind me there is still a path to follow. I lift it, watching its glow dance along the garden's walls. My pouch sways at my hip, heavy now with gathered wishes and the soft promise that none of them will ever be forgotten while I carry them. I make my way back to the gate, shadows bowing behind me, the hush wrapping itself around my shoulders like a gentle cloak. I pause at the gate, turning to look once more at the place where shadows rest. For a moment, I think I hear a voice, a whisper softer than the hush itself. But when I listen closer, there is only the night, patient and wide and waiting. I push the gate open and step back onto the path. The garden breathes behind me, its shadows settling once more, its secrets safe. My lantern swings softly, my footsteps slow and careful. The hush walks with me now, a companion I carry in the pouch at my side, in the warmth against my ribs, in the softness of my next step. Ahead, the path curves gently, folding into the waiting dark. And I follow, always gathering, always listening, always part of the quiet that holds the stars until they find their place again. Chapter 6, Where the Stars Return. The path has grown softer under my feet, as if the earth itself has been waiting for my steps to press their memory into it one last time tonight. The hush I carry in my pouch hums quietly at my side, each gathered star warm against my hip, a small constellation held close to my heartbeat. The lantern swings low in my hand, its glow folding into the night without protest, a gentle promise that I am not alone on this final stretch. The air here feels different, thinner, clearer, yet filled with a quiet weight that settles gently on my shoulders. I breathe it in, tasting the sweetness of moss and distant water and the hush that has followed me from meadow to bridge, from grove to garden, to here, this place where the path finally opens wide enough for the sky to reach all the way down. Ahead, the trees draw back, their branches arching away as if bowing to the hush that pools in this clearing. At the center stands a single stone circle, low and wide, its surface polished by the passage of hands and years. Within the circle, the earth dips slightly, forming a shallow bowl where soft moss glows under the starlight. I step closer, my boots brushing against the grass that rims the stone. The hush deepens, filling my ears until my own breath sounds like an echo. I kneel at the edge of the circle, lantern resting beside me, its light mingling with the quiet glow that rises from the moss. One by one, I open my pouch. The stars inside shift softly, as if they too know this is where they belong. I lift the first, cradling its small warmth in my palm. It flickers once, a tiny heartbeat of light, before I place it gently into the moss. It sinks slightly, the glow spreading into the earth like ink in water. I feel it hum through my fingertips, a soft goodbye. I repeat this with each star. Some are bright, some shy and faint, but each one carries the hush I have gathered along the path. I watch as they settle, breathing themselves back into the waiting ground, tiny seeds of light that will dream beneath the moss until the night calls them upward again. Between each star, I pause, listening to the hush that gathers and folds itself around my shoulders. There are no words here, no need for them. The night knows what I carry, what I have given, what I have kept. The stars hum their thanks in warmth and silence. When the last star slips from my palm into the moss, I sit back on my heels and close my eyes. The hush wraps around me like a blanket. I feel the warmth where each star rests, a soft constellation beneath my hands, my knees, the soles of my boots pressed to the earth. For a moment, I feel as though I am part of the clearing itself, no longer walking the path, but folded into it, breath and hush and heartbeat stitched together by the quiet light of wishes returned home. I open my eyes and lift my lantern one final time. Its flame flickers in the hush, then steadies, a single note of warmth that asks for nothing more than this moment. I stand slowly, the hush rising with me, the moss below pulsing faintly where the stars now dream. I turn from the circle and look up. The sky above is wide and deep and so full of distant stars that I almost forget the ones that rest now at my feet. But I know they are there, hidden beneath the moss, waiting for the night to gather them back when it is ready. I step away from the circle, my boots brushing softly through the grass. The hush does not leave me, it settles into my bones, my breath, the soft swing of my lantern as I find the path again. I know now there is no end to this walking, no final gate or closing door. The path folds back on itself, carrying me in gentle circles that always bring me home. As I leave the clearing, I pause once more to listen. The hush hums through the trees, across the moss, down into the earth where my wishes rest. Somewhere far away, the river murmurs its patient song. The garden dreams its shadows. The meadow breathes its silent echoes. The bridge waits with its gentle murmurs. All the places I have walked are still here, folded into the hush I carry with me. I lift my lantern a little higher, watching its glow mingle with the first faint hint of dawn brushing the edges of the path. I know that when the sun rises, the hush will linger, soft, patient, waiting for the night to return and for my feet to find the path once more. I take one step, then another. The hush settles deeper. The path unfolds ahead. The stars breathe below me, dreaming their quiet dreams until I come again, lantern low, footsteps soft, ready to gather the hush they leave behind. And I walk on.